Official life Shohei Ohtani's cruel strike call in the first inning 20 comments Shibi explodes in anger Roberts and Freeman's counter-offensive remarks stunned the entire nation. The seventh inning of the Dodgers vs. Los Angeles Dodgers game was marked by a big moment. Of the batting lineup that had been held back by the Rockies' young pitchers up until now, it was Shohei Ohtani who took the lead. With the count at 2-1 strike, Ohtani hit a sharp, powerful ball to right field against a changeup thrown by the opposing right-hander. The speed of the ball was approximately 184 km/h. Having reached the second division, Ohtani kept a calm expression on his face, but the fans stood up and cheered him on. With this hit, the opportunity opened up all at once with runners on second and third, and Mookie Betts came to bat. Even with 2 strikes, Betts showed his characteristic concentration and hit a compact ball to center field. The moment the 8th pitch hit the outfield grass, not only the third baseman but also Ohtani, who was on second base, slid into home plate in one go, snatching 2 runs. The score was reversed to 3-1. The Dodgers, who had been struggling up until that point, took control of the game with a burst of explosive power. This offensive turn of events was unforgettable even for the spectators. Dodger Stadium shook with the excitement of the fans, and applause and cheers echoed every time Ohtani's gutsy pose and Betts' smiling face were projected onto the screen. The consecutive brilliance shown by the 2 stars who decided the game did not just result in a score, but gave the entire team confidence in victory. In the clubhouse after the game, the Rockies' relief pitcher Natsumi could not hide his frustration. When asked about the battle in the 7th inning that allowed the comeback, he sighed deeply and said, "To be honest, I think that hit by Ohtani and Betts was just luck. The ball flew down the line, but if it had been a little bit off, it would have been a runner-up." Quote. His voice as he spoke to reporters was filled with bitter frustration. He also cited a scene from the 6th inning, expressing his deep dissatisfaction with the umpire's call. "We were leading 0-1. Dollander continued to answer, but was suddenly forced to leave the mound after walking the batter. Mejia, who took over, faced Ohtani and held out until the count was full. The third pitch was completely in the strike zone. Despite that, it was called a ball. If it had been a strike, Ohtani would have struck out." Shibi continued, his anger growing. "MLB gives Ohtani special treatment. He is the face of the league and has high commercial value. Isn't that why even the umpires make calls that favor him? Is this really fair? It's treatment that players like us would never receive." The way he asserted this was theatrical, typical of players who have just finished playing. Red Sox legend David Ortiz made some sharp comments on an MLB network program that was watched by fans who signed the same name. When asked what he thought of the show's host's statement that Ohtani, a shorty pitcher, was a Class 2 and that Betts' timely hit was just luck, Ortiz answered forcefully while hiding his anger. "I can't agree with the shorty's statement at all. Ohtani's perfect hit to the changeup in the 7th inning was the pinnacle of skill. The ball's speed reached nearly 184 km/h. It's too superficial and rude to just dismiss it." Ortiz leaned forward even more and continued to point out the problem. The shorty also brought up the walk call in the 6th inning and claimed that Ohtani was protected by the umpire, but that was also too one-sided. Umpires' calls are certainly difficult, but Ohtani struck out in his first at-bat after receiving a harsh call. The crowd booed, but no one should forget that Shohei Ohtani, who came up as the Dodgers' attacking hitter in the top of the 1st inning, had a turbulent at-bat from the start. Immediately after being called with a strike count, the opposing pitcher, Dollander, threw a 99.2 mph, approximately 160 km/h, fastball that struck Ohtani near his right knee. Ohtani let out a loud cry of surprise and reflexively twisted his body to avoid it. The entire stadium froze for a moment, and a mixture of anxiety and apprehension echoed from the stands. If it had hit him directly, it could have caused serious damage to the bone. The at-bat continued after that. With the count at 1-2 Dorlander threw the fourth pitch, a changeup low in center. The moment it landed in the middle of the defensive line, Ohtani raised his right hand high without hesitation and called a strike. Ohtani did not swing the bat and struck out, causing a huge uproar throughout the stadium. The Dodgers fans erupted in boos, with many saying that it was a ball. However, a check of the pitch-by-pitch data on the MLB official website revealed that the ball was slightly above the bridge of the strike zone. Technically, the umpire's call was correct, but the severity of the call was controversial. Furthermore, the emotions of the spectators and bench were still high, as the pitch had just before threatened Ohtani's knee. MLB Vice President Laura Petaroish later commented on the incident. That pitch was a dangerous ball that could have caused serious injury if it had hit him directly. Damage to the knee joint or bone could have even ruined his season. According to the rules, it would not have been strange if it had been called a strike, but considering the player's safety, it would have been reasonable to call it a ball. As her words indicate, the call was correct according to the rules, but emotionally, it was a scene that was both unreasonable and unreasonable for fans and players. Ohtani had little choice but to reflexively dodge. Therefore, it would have been more reasonable, both emotionally and legally, if the pitch had not been called a strike. Shohei Ohtani remained calm in the post-game interview. When asked about the incident in the sixth inning when he was called for a close call to throw the ball, he calmly replied, "I think that was a really difficult moment for the umpire. So I have no complaints at all, and I actually understand the call." After the game, I had a short chat with fellow umpire Mark Webner, and the atmosphere was so friendly that we even joked around. In the end, all I have to do is focus on how I'm going to hit the ball in my next at-bat. Quote. His words reflected his typical attitude of always looking forward. On the other hand, the Rockies pitcher, who was called to the game, made no attempt to hide his frustration. When he appeared in the interview area, he spoke to the gathered reporters with a grim expression on his face. "I just can't accept that incident. It always seems like MLB and the umpires are trying to protect Ohtani. Even if he swings and misses, or if the ball is in the zone, the call is ultimately interpreted in his favor. This is not fair baseball. It feels like we're just playing supporting roles on a stage set up for Ohtani." After the game, Freddie Freeman returned to the Dodgers clubhouse, his usual calm demeanor gone. When asked by a reporter what he thought about the short pitcher's comment that Ohtani was nothing more than a commercial player, he raised his voice in an unusual way and said, "Don't mess with me about Shohei being a commercial player. No one would say something like that. The number of home runs, the number of doubles, and the RBIs in game-winning games. All of those numbers are the result of skill. He's the star player because he has the skill to back it up." Quote. Freeman leaned forward even more and added 5. "And if you're going to talk about umpires, calls, be fair. Shohei has struck out countless times this season on balls that were on the edge of the zone or outside the zone. No one has taken him seriously. And yet, he never complained, just kept walking, silently going to the next at-bat, and hitting another game-winning hit." And finally, Freeman criticized the short pitcher's attitude itself. Ultimately, the reason he's irritated is because he provoked the team before the game and then got hit in the game. Instead of admitting defeat, he's just passing the buck to someone else. That's just an excuse. Shohei doesn't need special treatment. He continues to prove it with his bat and his own strength. Dodgers manager Tsuyoshi appeared at the post-game press conference with a calm and composed expression. He began by praising the key players in the victory, saying, "Ohtani's second base today. And then Betts' RBI hit that came afterwards saved the team. I think everything was